I don't know where this path will lead me. I can't see where my next step will fall. But I know it is with your trust and friendship that I dare to take this path head on. 2 days from now, if you tilt your ear a bit toward the northwest and listen well, you may be able to hear the second line drums rattling across the miles from the southern reaches of Louisiana on Fat Tuesday. And in that sound, you will hear 3 centuries of history since cultures collided on Bayou land in the early 1700s as the people of Nouvelle-Orléans learned to make a way from no way, intertwining the religions and cultures of French and Spanish Catholicism, Native American spirituality and traditions from the African continent. They gave us vibrant foods, brilliant colors, soulful music, the lilt of the Creole language, and Mardi Gras as we know it. Well, at least as we know its party, its revelry. But we do well to remember that that revelry was born of the resilience of disparate peoples banding together with fierce determination, indomitable human spirit, and the sheer creative force arising from the will to survive. We love the masks, but we do well to remember that the wearing of Mardi Gras masks was itself a subversive act of resistance. For in wearing masks, cultural strata were wiped out, social expectations were rendered anonymous, and people could mingle with the people of their choice for at least a few days. And we love the beads. Well, because beads. But we do well to remember that those beads mean something. They're color-coded. Purple is for justice. Green is for faith. And gold is for power. And the music. The music. Erupting cultures into sound that first clashed and then collaborated to make a music that could not have been made otherwise, to forge new expressions that none of them could have created on their own alone. I ponder what wisdom Mardi Gras might bring us on this Sunday, that we launch our annual budget drive to strengthen our commitment to this beloved community, this voice of progressive religious liberalism in this place on earth and at this time in history. At its root, New Orleans Mardi Gras is a celebration of determination and defiance. The spirit of human beings bringing the best of themselves into community to create a way from no way, against the odds, speaking truth to power. Through their music, through their actually daring to survive. The sheer audacity to not merely survive, but to live boldly, sing loudly, dance wildly, and love mightily when all the forces were against them and obstacles set in their path at every turn. Now, we round here tend not to have it so hard as it was 300 years ago. More often than not, I dare say, we tend to place obstacles in our own way rather than have obstacles forced upon us, which is a blessing and not. Well, how in the world is that not a blessing, preacher? How on earth is it not a blessing to not have it so hard? In a word, complacency. Complacency we cannot afford. Literally. We come into this place this morning from battles of a world we hardly recognize of late. A world where the progresses we thought we made are at risk all of a sudden. Oh, well, not really all of a sudden. Our beloveds of color and indigenous will remind us. but we suffered the illusions that we were bending the arc of the universe toward justice a little more than we actually did. And that kind of presumption that things will continue as they are, a little better all the time, is a complacency born of good people doing well, but not awake. Not that we haven't made good progress. We have. We've made many good progresses. But then we expected that progress would just pretty well continue on a generally upward trajectory throughout the rest of history. It was going to get better for our kids and better for their kids and better for their kids, and it was just gradually going to keep getting better. We didn't have to fight so hard. How rude it has been to discover that that just ain't so. Now, what on the good green earth does this have to do with our River of Grass annual budget drive? You ask. Engaging by the faces of our budget drive co-chairs, Kathy and Rita, they're kind of wondering, where is she going with this? In a word, commitment. A natural opposite of complacency. Now let me say, I have not known this beloved community at River of Grass to be complacent. From your very beginnings, you set about with great determination to make this place and grow it and its people in the work of justice and the ways of love. 20 years ago, you wanted a place for liberal religion in western Broward County. And you committed to it with everything you had, and you set out on a spiritual pilgrimage not knowing where the path might lead. 8 years ago, you wanted a place to stop moving around on that path quite so much. You found this building and once again committed to this place with everything you had to make it possible to grow deeper and stronger in ways moving around would not let you do. 5 years ago, you wanted a full-time settled minister, and you committed to it with everything you have. And you set this place on a new pathway in its life. Last year, you decided you wanted a religious education rebirth, and you committed to it with everything you had. And now we have some 40 children registered for our Sunday programs, and new families we count as our own. And you can applaud for that. Today we launch a budget drive to lift up all we have done thus far and help cast our vision toward the horizon and once more commit ourselves to this place with all we have to keep it the port of plenty that you have made it and intended it to be. This morning we have a really terrific juxtaposition as we consider our path together in both the here and now and that future that we envision as we make our commitments of support to this congregation for this year with our eyes on the horizon. We spent this weekend with Barry Finkelstein, our fundraising consultant, who has started the process of helping this beloved community navigate towards a new home. Barry's been a Unitarian Universalist congregational stewardship consultant. That's a lot of work. You know, put Unitarian Universalist in front of anything and it's a lot of work. He's been doing this since the fall of 2007, and he's worked with over 60 UU congregations on annual budget drives, capital campaigns, and strategic planning. He is a passionate UU who loves helping congregations along their journeys to ever grander futures. He spent Friday afternoon and evening all weekend with us and many of our members and leaders getting to know River of Grass, learning more of our history and listening to our deepest dreams of the future for this spiritual home we love. This morning we'll come back after our coffee and listen to some of his first impressions about where we are, where we might go. But first, he brings some wisdom for the journey today. And might I add, he is very glad that we have an accordion player today. Because he too is an accordion player.
thank you, Amy. It is true, I am an accordion player. I have to confess to that. And I'm not sure that I have ever seen an accordion in church that wasn't mine. So it's quite the treat to be here. And next time I come, I'll have an accordion, I'm sure. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share 6 words with you in a second. And if you don't remember anything, remember these 6 words. So I hear that your theme this month is the theme of journey. And in Wilmington, Delaware, where I come from these days, our monthly theme is also Journey. We're using the Soul Matters program, and Journey is the theme for the month of March. And one of the exercises in the Soul Matters package this month, which I read last night, is to think about your journey, your path, in 6 words. So I thought about a path for you this morning in 6 words. So I'm going to leave those with you. And again, if you remember nothing else that I say this weekend, remember these 6 words. And here they go. Dream together, build a grand future. So there you go. So first of all, I want to make a confession. I'm one of the crazy people who wanders around Unitarian Universalist congregations and talks to UUs, people like yourselves, about money. I think money might be the last taboo topic that we talk about in our UU congregations. We do a great job talking about sex. I'm an OWL teacher. I love the OWL program. We do an okay job talking about God and faith and all those things that have been challenges for us. But money is a tough thing. So that's what I do. But I have to say that I'm not really a money person, even though I do money for work now, or part of my work. I'm really a social justice person, and what drew me to Unitarian Universalism is our faith's commitment to social justice, to being an important place in the world, to making important changes in the world, whether it comes to immigrant rights and sane immigration policies, whether it comes to our support for LGBTQ rights, whether it's Black Lives Matter and racial justice. We have a life-saving, a world-changing message, and that's what draws me to Unitarian Universalism. That's what really brings me here this morning. But that said, what does it take to make that mission a reality? What does it take to make our message really resonate out in the world? It takes resources. It takes buildings. It takes staff. It takes professional leadership. And that's why I do stewardship work. And that's why I hope that you will be generously committed to your annual drive and then to a longer-term vision. Let me talk to you a little bit about that for just a few minutes, and then we'll talk more after the service. So my weekend with you, I've gotten a chance to observe the journey that you are on, and so my way of seeing it, what a journey it has been these 20 years. You have come a long way. I've seen lots of small congregations, lots of New Start congregations, and I would say that you have come further than most, maybe further than many. You have a building of your own, dedicated space. You don't own it, but it's dedicated 24/7 space. I know you've been through times when you did not have that. You have a full-time, wonderful minister. You have great staff. You have great lay leaders and a real serious program. You know how to do Sunday morning services, great music. This is just a tremendous journey, and the journey continues. And so I'm glad to be able to help you get started on the next steps as you envision your new home. A big part of that, I believe, will be figuring out the money side of it. There's more to it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But the money side is important, and thinking about raising the kinds of capital money that you will need to add to the assets that you already have is a great opportunity. I love capital campaigns. I've worked on about 20 of them with UU congregations, and they are all wildly successful. They allow us to come together on this journey. They allow us to come together and share our resources in a way that's really special. One thing I want to remind you of when you think about capital campaigns is the promises we make to one another. We, Unitarian Universalism, is a covenantal faith. I like that you recite your covenant. What does that mean? It means that we make promises to one another. It means that we make promises to this community. And one of the promises that you will make is committing your resources to help make this go, help make the next steps of the journey as grand as the last 20 years have been. Capital campaigns can be a little bit scary, and that's why you need some help doing them. But at the same time, they're tremendously invigorating and inspiring and community building. and I have no doubt that the same will happen here. And of course, the feeling when it's all done and you're in your brand new home, stronger than ever in pursuit of your mission, the feeling of accomplishment is really something else. Yet one more step on the grand journey that is River of Grass. So can you do it? I'll talk more about this later, but the short answer is yes, absolutely. You can do this. Just about every UU church has the capacity to do grand projects and fund them with successful capital campaigns if you want to. And I've got the sense this weekend, and I met with almost 50 of you, got the strong sense that you do indeed want to. So I have no doubt that you can do it and that you can do it now. So I invite you to dream big, think expansively about where you want to go and what's possible for the next 5, 10, 20 years, and enjoy the process. Even though it is a little scary, it's also exciting and it's rewarding. So I hope that you will, go ahead and remember the 6 words. Journey together, what do I have here? Dream together, build a grand future. And stick around and we'll have further conversation later.
I don't know where this path will lead. I can't see where my next step will fall. But I know it's with your trust and friendship that I dare to choose this path alone. 300 years ago, a vastly varied people found themselves making a new way from old ways at the mouth of the Mississippi River. They gave us New Orleans' own unique culture and a profound lesson in resilience and resolve. Today, let us celebrate our own resilience and renew our own resolve to carry on the remarkable heritage of this faith we share and dare to build the dream we cherish here at River of Grass, begun 20 years ago. Kathy and Rita are ready for you as we depart this service to give you your pledge packet. And you're going to see that this year's campaign is called Imagine. Imagine where we can be, who we are, how we're going to get there. And inside, you're going to see this beautiful brochure, which is also going to show you where we are, where we need to be, where we are absolutely bound and determined to go. So, give it your heart as you consider. Around here, we believe in putting our money where our heart is, that we may continue our pilgrimage toward holier worlds, that we may make this place a port of plenty, sure in the knowledge that while we may not always know precisely where we're going, it is only because we go together that we can dare to go at all. Much of your leadership has already completed their pledges, as have I. Much of your leadership have increased their pledges, as have I. At this time, we would like to ask the visionaries who've completed their pledges to come on up and start filling up this chalice, that the flame of this faith and the place we treasure at River of Grass may burn brighter and brighter today and for generations to come that will inherit this thing, this grand vision that you started. Won't you come and go with me?